Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So in this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto and Raynare was deeply in relationship, Naruto x Kushina. This is part 1 and subscribe and like for more, let's get in the video. A figure moved faster than he ever had in his life. His feet pounding down the pavement, he tripped over his own 2 feet dropping his bakken. He turned and caught a quick glimpse of his feet, more specifically how his shins up to his knees were encased in a silver-purple looking pair of shin guards. The bottoms of his feet having a pointed front and a spike jutting out from the side of each. The young man was pulled from his thoughts as a small fist entered his field of vision, raising his arms with speed that he knew he didn't have. He managed to block the attack but was sent flying into a car. The young man yelled out in pain as the car's frame bent and the windows all but shattered. The horn blared to life, but no one was going to come and see what all the fuss was about. The group that was attacking the blonde was going to make sure that he didn't escape them with his life. He looked up in time to see a flash of steel coming at his face. Out of pure desperation and reflex he managed to catch the blade between his hands, cutting his hands. He didn't have time to wince in pain as he used all his power to throw the blade away before planting a foot in the stomach of his attack and sending him flying away. Once his attack was clear, a lightning bolt struck him in his chest, making him yell in pain as the sword was pulled away from him. Despite the pain, and his body basically being cooked, he rose to his feet, smoking, and his clothes nearly burned to his skin. He looked through his bangs at the gathered people who had attacked him. "Do you have any last words before I send you to hell?" asked the woman who led the attack. The young man chuckled as he flexed his new black and bloody wings. "You better make sure I stay dead, Rias, or I am going to rip you and your gang of devils apart, starting with my ex," said the young man as he stared at the young woman with lightning on her fingers. The now named Rias frowned. "You lied to a woman who is my best friend and like a sister to me. I am going to eradicate you from existence, Uzumaki Naruto," said Rias. So, this is how Uzumaki Naruto goes out, at 17 years old, taken out by his ex-girlfriend's gang of devil friends. Fuck my luck, thought Naruto, thinking back to how it came to be that people he once considered friends were now trying to kill him. Kuo Town was a large city about 200 miles north of Tokyo. It had several businesses and a thriving population. It was most well known for its prestigious academy, Kuo Academy. The academy was a legacy school that had all grades from kindergarten through to college. It also was famous for the recent addition of the Uzumaki restaurant and alumni of Totsuki Cooking Academy. It is run by legendary chef Uzumaki Kushina and her students Ikumi Mito and her son Uzumaki Naruto. The sound of moans and grunts could be heard coming from the smallest of the 3 upstairs bedrooms. The 2 people in said bedroom would not be doing this if either of the other 2 residents were around. One of them was because she had feelings for Naruto and thought he was wasting his time and potentially messing around with a woman like Akeno, who used men and played them. The other was against the relationship but refused to clarify why that was. Hamejima Akeno didn't really care if her boyfriend's mother liked her or not. She was in love with the young man who currently had her pressed into the wall and destroying her cunt with his very thick and long rod. Akeno was beautiful and only one thing could shake her confidence. But that was neither here nor there. She was a Yamato Nadeshiko. She stood at 56, a voluptuous figure with long legs and large H-cup breasts as her defining feature that was currently covered in sweat. Violet eyes, that were currently squeezed shut in pleasure. Her hair is usually tied in a very long ponytail, reaching all the way down to the floor with 2 strands sticking out from the top and sloping backward, with an orange ribbon keeping it in place. However, said ribbon was currently on the floor, leaving her long hair loose and all over the place. The only thing she wore was a black thong and a pair of high heels that she thought would look sexy on her as she was used. Her boyfriend of 7 months was currently reaching so deep inside of her. He was a handsome man. He stood at 61 and had the body of a cruiserweight wrestler with the muscles to prove that they were not for show but use. His blonde hair made him easily mistaken for a foreigner, despite him being a native of Japan, with dark blue eyes that had an edge of purple to them. "I am coming, Akeno-chan," grunted Naruto as he sped up his thrusts. "Inside, Naruto-kun. Knock me up like a cheap whore," moaned Akeno in Naruto's ear. Both sighed in contentment as Naruto buried himself inside Akeno one final time. Akeno felt the warmth of Naruto's seed splash against the condom he wore and was a bit upset that they didn't do it bareback. Naruto didn't know her secret about how hard it was for her to get pregnant, but there was no need to tell him that at the moment. Naruto pulled out of her and removed the used condom and was about to throw it away before Akeno grabbed it and sucked the semen out of it. She opened her mouth showing it to Naruto, only for his eyes to narrow in lust. Oh. Akeno definitely knew how to make him want to bend her over and fuck her. "Damn it, Akeno, we're supposed to be studying," said Naruto as he wiped his face. Akeno laughed as she swallowed Naruto's kids, before taking some mouthwash and rinsing her mouth out. "Sorry, Naru-chan. I couldn't help it. I haven't seen you for a month, said Akeno as she crawled along the bed and cuddled with Naruto. The reason for the long break in their 7 months of dating was that Naruto, his mother, and his mother's student traveled to Italy for a food contest. We need to take a shower and air out the room before Ka-chan and Mito-senpai return, said Naruto. Akeno smirked before getting up and grabbing a towel. Then we better go together to save time and water, said Akeno as she walked out of the room with a sway of her hips. Naruto quickly followed after her. The duo were in the shower for 15 minutes while the window to the room was left open. Luckily Naruto's mother was out for another few hours. Location: Kuo Town Place. Kuo Academy, outside time, 0740. Naruto and Akeno held hands as they walked down towards Kuo Academy. Naruto wearing the boy's uniform without the tie and the top button undone revealing an orange shirt underneath. Over his shoulder was his kickboxing bag. Akeno was wearing the female's uniform with a shoulder cape and a sinfully short skirt that revealed Akeno's thong if you looked at just the right angle. So did I miss anything while I was gone? Asked Naruto. Akeno gave a small laugh. Not much, just the perverted trio acting up again, said Akeno. Perverts the lot of them, came a voice that Naruto knew well. Naruto smiled as he reached down with his free hand and patted the girl who managed to get next to him and Akeno without Naruto noticing. Hello Tujo-chan. Tuju Kaneko was a first year and according to her big sisters had a massive crush on Naruto. Something Akeno teased her mercilessly for wanting to be with her big sister's boyfriend. Kaneko was pretty, but many would also call her a loli since she was a mere 46 despite being 15 years old. White hair has 2 long bangs going past her shoulders and several loose bangs hanging over her forehead, while the back has a short bob cut. Eyes were the color of molten gold and helped give her a static expression most of the time. Wearing the girl's uniform wears a black cat-shaped hair clip on both sides of her hair. Kaneko frowned. Despite how good his head pats felt to her, Kaneko-senpai, said Kaneko. Naruto smiled. Neko-chan, said Naruto. The girl blushed and looked away from him, trying and failing to hide the fact that she had a small crush on her friend's boyfriend. I swear Uzumaki-kun, you have all the girls eating out of your hands. If I am the prince then you're the king, said another boy. Yuto Kiba was all things considered to be the second most handsome boy in Kuo Academy. But with his looks and that rather polite way he has with words compared to Naruto's own crass way of speech, the duo was often called the warrior king of Kuo, and the prince of Kuo. Kiba was shorter than Naruto by a good 3 inches, his blonde hair was more matted and straighter than Naruto's own spiky mess and his face was smooth, his eyes were emerald green, and he wore the clothes of the Kuo Academy boys. Naruto smirked. You talk a big game, but you ready to get your ass kicked again? Asked Naruto. Kiba smiled. If I remember correctly the score is 10-7, said Kiba. In Ruto-kun's favor Kiba-kun, came a voice that would make many boys and quite a few girls' hearts skip a beat. The girl who spoke was Akeno's best friend, one half of the 2 great ladies of Kuo and the most popular girl in the entire school. Rias Gremory. If Akeno was sex on legs then this girl was seduction to the eyes. She stood at 59 and with the way her body was built it was nearly impossible not to pop a boner. Large EE-cup breasts that while smaller than Akeno's own impressive H-cup breasts, but then again, most girls in Kuo were stacked up to at least C, mischievous blue-green eyes, long, beautiful crimson hair which she also inherited from her father, that reaches down to her thighs with a single hair strand, sticking out from the top. Her hair also has loose bangs covering her forehead and side bangs framing her face. She wore the girl's uniform. Good morning, Rias-chan, said Naruto patting her head. Good morning future lover, said Rias with a smile, before she reached up on her tippy toes and lightly brushed her lips against Naruto's own. This was something that she liked to do with Naruto. But only when Akeno was around. It was an inside joke between the 3. Akeno and Rias had invited Naruto out to hang out once. Naruto and Akeno had only been dating for about a month at the time. Naruto had once told Rias that her most attractive feature was her hair. Rias' blush matched her hair. To thank Naruto giving him a Cheshire kiss, Naruto blushed and thought that Akeno would fly off the handle, but she laughed and told Naruto that she expected him to have cheating sex with Rias before they had a threesome. At that, Naruto didn't know if his girlfriend was taking it in stride or seriously. All in all, ever since that day, Rias would give Naruto a kiss whenever they met. Akeno laughed. Rias-chan, you should NT kiss another woman's boyfriend, said Akeno. Rias smirked, before she gave Akeno a full-blown kiss on the lips, making men, women, and anyone else besides their friends to be blown back by a nosebleed. This wasn't as common, but Rias and Akeno did practice kissing each other at one point. Kiba smirked at Naruto. How about we give the girls something to look forward to, Uzumaki-kun? Asked Kiba with his most charming smile. Naruto, buy me dinner and take me to a movie first. Kiba, you top or bottom? Said Naruto. Kiba chuckled. I am not picky. All the girls who managed to recover from Akeno and Rias makeout were instantly knocked out again. Naruto chuckled as he watched the show. While it didn't seem it, there were several rumors about what the Occult Research Club and their +1 got up to. Naruto and Kiba broke off and went to the Kendo Club. As the male captains of their respective clubs, they had a responsibility to their club members, especially their female counterparts. As the boys walked off, Rias turned to Akeno and Kaneko. Thoughts? Asked Rias. He has a strong aura, but it seems dormant, said Kaneko. A descendant of a yokai maybe, or even a devil? Asked Rias. Maybe, but it's buried so deep that it's hard to tell what he is. He's at least 4 or 5 generations removed from his ancestry. I also smell a sacred gear on him, said Kaneko. Akeno? Asked Rias, looking to her best friend. He's your boyfriend. Akeno looked at Naruto's retreating back. On one hand, she wanted to keep him far away from the supernatural, but on the other hand, he was so far the only man who had been worthy of her, despite her age. Akeno knew what she wanted in a life partner. Naruto checked all the boxes. Even if he would never have cheating sex with Rias for Akeno's own amusement, the threesome wasn't off the table, unless they failed. Do what you must, Rias-sama. Just, please be gentle when you break the news. And what of Hyodo-san? Rias smiled while licking her lips slightly. I have a few pieces. A few more cute servants aren't out of the question. Location: Kuo Town Place. Kuo Academy. Gym. Time: 1850. The thumping of a leg of leather could be heard as the kickboxing club was training for their next event. Naruto was kicking the bag as one of the stronger members held it. Naruto wore an orange pair of MMA trunks, black hand wraps, black ankle wraps, and a tiger-striped shirt. Many were impressed with his determination. A month off and it seemed like he had lost no power in his move. The female members of the club looked on in awe at their captain, while the males wept at his manliness and show of skills. Naruto stopped his last kick midway to the bag as he saw Kiba enter the room. This was odd. Normally Kiba would have kendo practice at this time. Naruto nodded to his vice captain. Drill 16 and then release for the day, Mu-chan, said Naruto. Hi senpai, said the vice captain before she turned to the others and began to instruct them in the drill. Naruto grabbed a towel and began to wipe his face. Hey Kiba-san, what is it that you need? Asked Naruto. Rias-sama needs to speak with you about something, said Kiba. The whiskered blonde raised a brow at this. What is this Rias-sama stuff? And what is so important that she sent you to get me? I cannot say, but I can promise that it isn't as bad as you think. In fact, it could be very beneficial to you, said Kiba. Naruto nodded. Alright, let me get changed and you can escort me there, said Naruto. Location: Kuo Town Place. Kuo Academy, old school building. Time: 1850. Kiba led Naruto to the Orc Clubhouse, a macabre-looking building that used to be the main building of the old schoolhouse. It was 2 floors and had something akin to a bell tower. Creeping vine was growing here and there, adding to the air of mystery and danger. Kiba opened the door and Naruto walked into the Orc Clubhouse. As he did, Naruto felt a jolt of electricity travail through his body, making him seize up for a moment. Something inside him was warning him of danger. How could that be? Naruto had been with Akeno and her friend numerous times and never felt like this. Then again, he had never been inside of their clubhouse either. Kiba turned to Naruto. Is everything alright, Uzumaki-kun? Naruto snapped out of it. Yeah, I am fine, just never been inside before, said Naruto. The duo continued on until they made it to the old principal's office in the east wing of the building. As they entered, Naruto noticed a pair of couches with Kaneko sitting down eating some sweets, the old style of wallpaper, and the large redwood desk in near the wall. He also heard a shower running. Hello Ruto-kun, said Akeno emerging from a door wearing an apron. Naruto blushed looking at his girlfriend. He imagined her wearing that but with nothing on underneath and them in a kitchen. Naruto shook his head. He had to focus. So why was I called here? It's rare that you guys invite anyone but the student council up here, said Naruto. You're correct about that, Naruto-kun, but we do make exceptions. You are one of those exceptions. Sanaru-kun, you don't mind if I call you that, do you? Asked Rias. Naruto shrugged. He honestly didn't care so long as he wasn't called Fishcake. He was a maelstrom, damn it. So what's up? You could have just called my phone, ya no? Asked Naruto. I could have, but this is official business, said Rias as she sat at her desk and opened a drawer before pulling out a red horse-shaped piece from out of it. I take it you know what this is? Naruto frowned. It's a knight from the chess game. It can only move in an L-shaped direction 3 in 1, said Naruto. Rias clapped. You've been studying, but this is pretty common knowledge. Tell me what you know of devils, angels, and fallen angels? Now this had Naruto frowning. Aren't devils and angels mortal enemies from the Christian mythology? Fallen angel, only Lucifer earning that title, said Naruto. Rias chuckled as she crossed her arms under her breasts. It's a bit more complicated than that, but yes, however, that is all for later. For now, just know that I want you to be part of my family, Naru-kun, said Rias. Naruto looked at Rias like she was crazy. I don't think Akeno would like us getting married, and last time I checked I have a mom, said Naruto. Akeno laughed. That's kinky, but no. What Rias-sama means is that she wasn't you to join us, said Akeno. Join us? Asked Naruto. Yes, become part of my family and a devil in service to the Gremory family, said Rias as she and the others all had black bat-like wings appear out of their backs. Naruto looked at the knight that Rias had in her hand. He was shocked by what he had just heard. Rias. Akeno. Kiba. Kaneko. All devils, that was intense. Devils, that's, started Naruto. Rias chuckled. It feels like a fairy tale. I know, chess pieces that turn you into a devil, a slave if you will, said Rias. Naruto frowned. Rias, you're a cool girl, but I am not going to be your slave, said Naruto. Rias noticed the lack of endearment on her name but knew that it was the shock of what Naruto had just discovered about his friends. It wasn't like everyone had friends that were devils. I understand how it sounds. You'll be a slave in name only. The House of Gremory treats all its servants like family. I want you to understand that everyone here is my beloved family, said Rias. Naruto crossed his arms and looked at his girlfriend. Even you, Akeno-chan? Asked Naruto. Akeno walked up to Naruto and placed a hand on his face. I asked Rias to offer you a chance to live for many years, thousands, to be with me and all the others. In fact, if you rank up high enough in Devil Society, you can have a harem of your own. I won't even bat an eyelash if you bent Rias over her own desk. Naruto was shocked by her statement. How can she so openly talk about this? Sure, he had dreamed of having sex with Rias, but the type of man he wouldn't allow him to cheat on his girlfriend. Then again, devils were creatures of temptation. How much did he really know about devils? Naruto rubbed his head. He thought about his mom and dad. They would grow old and die, but if he became a high-ranking devil, he could help them live forever. Aunt Tsunade, Shizune, and even Mito-ne, they could all live for a long time. Naruto knew that death was always a factor for all living creatures. His family, despite the long lives the majority of them lived, was no exception. I guess it couldn't hurt to be a devil, said Naruto. Rias smiled as she hid her wings again and walked up to Naruto and hugged him. I am glad that you've made this choice. I would hate to have to take this memory from you, said Rias. Rias backed away and held up her hand. In the name of Rias Gremory, I call to Uzumaki Naruto. Hear my command. Hear my command. I give thee new life as my demon servant. Become my knight and protector. The knight floated in the air for a second, before glowing a bright red. It shot at Naruto's chest and embedded itself there. Naruto stood still for a few seconds before a pulse burst through his body. The pluses sped up before Naruto felt an electric shock run through his body. Naruto's eyes widened before he yelled in pain and wrapped his arms around himself. His heart beat fast, his legs felt like fire, and he fell to the ground. Before he knew it, a pair of black wings ripped from his back, but not devil wings, fallen angel wings. As they burst from his back, a pair of knee-high purple boots appeared on his feet. The night piece shot out of his chest and back to the floor. Naruto panted as he sat there before he looked up and sought the faces of his friends. On each of their faces was shock, anger, betrayal, and before he knew it, Kiba held out his hands, creating a sword and attacking Naruto, forcing Naruto to flee into the streets of Kuo. Uzumaki Kushina was many things: a hot-headed young old lady of 37. A former delinquent, a master chef who specialized in ramen dishes. And a proud mother. She graduated from Totsuki Academy as the third-ranked chef in the school. She had been offered many jobs, from restaurants to 5-star hotels. She turned them all down and went to work for her cousin Senju Tsunade in the Senju hotel chain as the vice president of cuisine. It was there she met her husband, former Asian boxing champion Namikaze the Yellow Flash Minato. Minato and Kushina hit it off when they met and fell in love. They were married 6 months later when Kushina was 19 and Minato was 25. It was 2 years later when Kushina was 21 when Naruto was born and Minato retired and became vice president of entertainment. He mostly spent his time in Canada, where he was the country director of Senju Hotels. That being said, Kushina couldn't in good conscience work as the vice president while trying to raise Naruto. So, she took up an advisory role after speaking with Tsunade and was the vice president in all but name and would only have to come to a meeting twice a month. So she started a small restaurant and raised Naruto up from there. Over the years she had had a few apprentices come and go, learning under her. Despite Naruto choosing to go into fighting rather than cooking, he was still a pretty good chef, almost as good as Kushina was at that age, but he rarely cooked since he spent more time training. Her current student Mito was sent by her friends. I won't ask again, heiress of Gremory, said Kushina. This is a waste of time, Kushina-sama. Let me rip them apart for hurting Naruto-kun, said Mito, taking her meat clever and using magic to expand the blade to be nearly as long as a sword. Rias frowned. I don't know if you are aware of this, Uzumaki-san, but you are in the territory that I govern. You being here is in direct violation of the ceasefire, said Rias. That would be the case if I was affiliated with the Gogori. I don't have to worry about pissing off the higher-ups, and I am not scared of the devil faction, especially your brother Gremory, said Kushina, crossing her arms over her chest. Rias looked at Kushina. I suppose you can negotiate some measure to move freely in my territory, said Rias. You mean the territory that you're renting for Yusaka? You and that little sea-tree heiress, asked Kushina, raising an eyebrow. Rias was calm on the outside, but on the inside, she was fucking terrified. Already she knew that Kushina was at least 10 times stronger than her. But to have that information as well did not bode well for the Gremory heiress. Kiba narrowed his eyes before he vanished and appeared before Kushina, thrusting his sword at Kushina. Kushina didn't even flinch as Mito appeared before her, knocking Kiba's sword up with her meat cleaver, before stabbing Kiba in the shoulder with her kitchen knife. Kiba, using his speed, managed to jump back and avoid a serious injury. Kiba's only saving grace was that the steel wasn't holy. Touch Naru or Kushina-sensei and ill turn that pretty little face into a flay, said Mito, licking the blood off of her knife. Akeno and Rias raised their hands and fired off their respective attacks, aiming at Mito's back, but several chains appeared, forming a barrier stopping the attacks. Kushina jumped into the air and raised her hand, creating a red spear of light, and threw it at Rias and the others. Kaneko jumped in front of Rias and tried to use her own power to punch it, but the spear nearly ripped Kaneko's left arm off. Kaneko screamed in pain as she fell to the ground, holding her arm. Kaneko-chan, yelled the others. Rias turned to Kushina and began to gather all her power. You'll pay for hurting my servant, yelled Rias as she raised her hands. Destruction cannon. Raised unleashed her strongest attack at Kushina. Kushina narrowed her eyes before pulling her fist back and covering it in several chains before throwing her fist forward and hitting the ball of destructive force that was said to be strong enough to destroy anything, only for the attack to do nothing but disperse. Rias was shocked that Kushina was strong enough to stop her strongest attack. Rias had killed a few fallen angels and even lesser devils before in combat and was sure that she was strong enough to take on a 10-winged angel or fallen, but it seemed that Kushina wasn't someone to underestimate. Kushina looked at Rias, before rushing forward and kicked Rias in the chin, sending her skyward. Rias' world exploded in pain, but she was barely skyward for a minute before Kushina grabbed her leg and began to twist around, creating a mini tornado, before releasing Rias and having her fly into Akeno. Mito was trading attacks with Kiba, but the speed that Kiba was using was starting to push Mito on the back foot. Mito was strong, but Kiba's speed was unnerving. Besides that, Mito wasn't as good as creating spears as other fallen angels. Kiba had gotten a few slashes on Mito. Kiba was a trained swordsman, whereas Mito relied on the skills she gained in the kitchen to show her battle prowess. The duo locked up once before Kiba put a boot in Mito's gut and sent her away. Mito skidded backward several feet and stopped. Kiba pushed some magic into the sword and charged at Mito, intending to impale her. Rev. Came a female voice. 1. Dynamic entry. Yelled Naruto, feeling that a bowl-cut man with thick eyebrows would be proud of him. Naruto appeared and kicked Kiba in the face with a hard. Kiba was sent flying end over end. Stall. Naruto winced as his legs began to shake from fatigue and pain. For some reason, he felt like all his energy had been used up in that one attack. Mito looked at Naruto's back. Thanks, Naru. You're a lifesaver, said Mito with a smile. Sorry Mito-ne, but that's all I got in me, said Naruto. Not surprising you did just awaken your sacred gear, Naru, said Mito. Kiba went to attack again, but several chains wrapped around Kiba, burning his skin, before he was thrown backward to Rias' group. Kushina appeared in front of her charges with narrowed eyes. She raised her hand and created several spears of light, numbering in the hundreds, prepared to rain hell on the Gremory group. Enough, yelled someone, catching the attention of everyone. Rias and Kushina looked over in the direction of where the shout came from. It was a girl who was Rias' age. She was quite a bit shorter than Akeno, but still taller than Kaneko at 55, a bespectacled young woman with a slim figure, black hair styled in a short bob cut, and violet eyes, wearing the same uniform as Rias. This was the heiress to the Citri family, student council president of Kuo Academy, and co-ruler of the Kuo Town Devils, Sona Citri. On Sona's left was her queen, a young bespectacled woman with long straight black hair that extended all the way down to her knees, with split bangs and heterochromic eyes, with a violet left eye and a light brown right eye. Honestly, some people often confuse them for twins with how similar their attitudes and appearance were. In addition to wearing the Kuo Academy girls' school uniform, she also wears blue, semi-rimmed glasses with square lenses, too. Next to her was someone Rias didn't expect. A young man who stood at 62 and built for a fight with how toned and muscular he was. Spiky black hair, dark blue eyes, wearing a black V-neck shirt, black baggy cargo pants, a white jacket, a necklace, which resembles a sword with a stone in it, a metal bracelet and a chain which is attached to the belt loops on the right side of his pants. This was the knight of Seraphal Leviathan Grey Fullbuster. 3. "Why are you here, Fullbuster?" asked Kushina as she lowered herself and summoned her spear. Grey stepped forward as the air began to become cold. "I was here to deliver something to Sona Che for the boss lady, but when I felt your power I had to come here." "Red Death," said Grey, holding his hand out and focusing, creating a swirling ball of ice. Rias felt her skin crawl as she heard the name. Red Death was famous for killing 1,000 devils that had attacked her husband and son 15 years ago. She had put the underworld on notice. While 1,000 devils didn't seem like a lot, the fact was that she killed them all within a few minutes using only her chains and fists, not even her spears of light. Kushina frowned. "It's been many years since then. I no longer go by that feared name." "Even still, you can't deny your past as that monster," said Grey. "It was your people who attacked my family and nearly broke the ceasefire. Azazel doesn't take too kindly to those who try to break the peace. Besides, Yasaka-chan also placed us under her protection," said Kushina, charging up her own energy and heating the air. "Even still, I can't allow a fallen angel of your rank near the heiresses of 2 great devil houses. I'll have to kill you, Ice Age," yelled Grey, slamming his fist into the orb and breaking it. Kushina quickly used her chains to create a fast-moving barrier around herself, Mito, and Naruto, protecting them from the ice shards and sheer cold that was emitting from the orb. But Kushina was focused on defense, since if she went on the offensive, Naruto and Mito would be in danger. Naruto glared at Grey as he felt his legs were no longer shaking and in pain. He felt like he had more stamina than normal and was faster. Crank. Rev. Naruto vanished and reappeared with his right leg aimed at Grey's face. Channeling one of his childhood idols, Naruto aimed his right foot with deadly accuracy. "Sweet chin music," yelled Naruto. 4. Grey was forced to stop Ice Age or lose his head. He ducked the kick, grabbed Naruto by the leg and lifted him into the air before throwing him. Naruto flipped in the air and seemed that a platform of solid air appeared under his feet. He wasn't floating like people who flew, he was standing there. Rev. Naruto smirked as he felt his stamina increase again. Before he allowed the platform, he was on to vanish before he fell with his left leg above his head. "Heavenly Axe Drop," yelled Naruto. Grey raised his arms above his head, coating them in ice as Naruto dropped his heel on the arms. Grey threw Naruto back at Kushina and Mito, where Naruto landed on the ground by his feet and spun a few times before stopping before his mother and Mito in a low crouch. Grey looked at his arms and frowned. Maybe only Kushina noticed it, but Naruto had creaked Grey's ice. Despite being closer to a rook than his position as a knight, Grey possessed a magic that was on par with some of the strongest mage types. Despite being a fighter type, his ice was probably the 8th most powerful ice in the entire supernatural realm. He knew Seraphal ranked as 2 and the strongest queen ranked as 5, but to know that this newly awakened fallen could creak his ice even if he wasn't at full power was a matter of pride for him. "I think that's enough sparring for tonight," said Sona as she stepped forward. "Sona, you don't understand Uzumaki is," started Rias. Sona rounded on Rias with a chilling stare. "A student of Kuo who was attacked by the occult research club without provable cause. Even if Uzumaki-san is a fallen angel, up until earlier this evening I didn't even know he had fallen blood in his veins or how strong it was. As the student council president, it is my job to protect all students. As such, Uzumaki Naruto is now under the protection of the student council," said Sona, before turning to Kushina and bowing. "What?" yelled Akano as she took a step forward. "How can you do this? This bastard is a fallen angel. He hid among the students and could have been planning nothing. My son's heritage was sealed by myself, my husband, and my cousin. Me and my family have permission to live in Kuo in peace, so long as we don't interfere in the activities of devils," said Kushina as she reached into her pocket and pulled out a scroll. She tossed it to Tsubaki, who caught it and unraveled it. Sona-sama, according to this Uzumaki Kushina, her son, and any disciples that she has been allowed to operate in Kuo as part of an agreement that she has with the leader of the Yukai faction, an agreement that your brother knows about and agreed to Rias-sama, said Tsubaki as she showed everyone the scroll. And sure enough, at the bottom of the school were the names of the Yukai faction leader, the Gogori leader, and the leader of devils. Gray sighed as he rubbed his head. Well, shit, that changes things a great deal. Gremory-sama, I need you and your peerage to accompany me back to your homes and report this to Lady Seraphal and Lord Searzex, said Gray. What, I refuse to be cowled by fallen angels, yelled Rias. Gray sighed. Don't make me repeat myself, ma'am. We need to leave now. We've already put a serious strain on the ceasefire by attacking Red Death, said Gray. I too think it's best that we all need to leave, said Sona. Rias glared. Sona, very well, said Rias. Gray created a portal pulling all the devils inside. As they vanished, Naruto looked at Akino's eyes hoping to find something there, but her eyes avoided his own. As the devils left, Kushina rounded on her son and Mito. I know you have a lot of questions, but not tonight. Tomorrow you want go to school and well talk about everything you want. I'll even call Tsunade and your dad, said Kushina. Naruto nodded as she turned and led Mito and Naruto to their home. Are you alright, Naruto? Asked Mito, putting her knives away after. No, but thanks for asking, said Naruto. Naruto opened his eyes as he looked around. He looked around what could only be a purple-blue sky and rolling fields of green. There were flowers, everyone in the color of red and yellow. Sitting at the edge of a cliff overlooking a sea was a girl. This girl was different. She was slender and, if Naruto was honest with himself, beautiful. But that wasn't saying much, as all the girls who lived in Kuo had unnatural beauty. A slender yet toned body with large breasts, red hair that went to her shoulders with purple highlights, a pair of horns, wearing a white shirt that was slightly ruffled at the front, a high-waist red skirt that had a massive red tail with some purple scales poking out from the back, black stocking, and flat brown boots. Her legs were pulled up into herself. Hey, where are we? Asked Naruto. The girl looked at Naruto with a look of indifference. I didn't expect you to appear for a while. We are in your mind, said the girl. My mind? If we are in my mind, then who are you? Asked Naruto, looking at the beautiful girl. You can call me Gree. I am the spirit of your sacred gear, said the now named Gree. One. Spirit? Asked Naruto. Gree smiled. I lost many things many years ago. This is my eternal punishment set forth by God. We are already out of time, but know this: your fight is my fight. Your allies are my allies. Your enemies are my enemies, but you have not yet earned the right to use all of my power, said Gree. Naruto looked at her before grinning and sticking out his hand. I look forward to earning your trust, Gree-chan. Hopefully we can become good partners and eventually friends, said Naruto. Gree looked at Naruto's hand before taking it. I look forward to our partnership and getting to know you as well, Naruto-san, said Gree as Naruto started to vanish. Location: Kuo Town Place, Uzumaki Residence, Edding Tides Restaurant. Time: 0600. The door to Naruto's room opened and Mito walked in. She wore a tank top and black leggings. She had been asked by Kushina-sensei to awaken Naruto. It wasn't like it was a chore or anything. Mito often woke Naruto, since Mito often rose early for her exercise and training with Kushina, while Naruto normally rose early to train. The past night had been hard on him. His expression was so peaceful. Mito had seen Naruto in his sleep several times. He often lightly snored, but when he was stressed out his expression was so peaceful. Reaching over, she placed a hand on his bangs and moved his hair out of the way. But the peace didn't last as Mito was grabbed and pinned to the bed by Naruto with his knee between her legs and her arms pinned above her head. What are you doing in my room, Mito-ne? Asked Naruto. Mito frowned. Kushina-sensei asked me to wake you up, and don't think just because you have me pinned means that you have me trapped, said Mito. Mito flexed her hips and managed to break free of Naruto's grip, and they both tumbled to the ground in a tangle of limbs, rolling around and grunting. Naruto had reached, but Mito had flexibility and about even in strength. After 2 minutes of this, the wrestling came to an end with Mito straddling Naruto's hips. Midas' emerald eyes looked into Naruto's own as she was atop him in the dominant position. Her shirt had slipped down her shoulders, exposing one large breast with perfectly nickel-sized nipples. Naruto reached up with his free hand and palmed her face before they leaned in together and kissed. They moaned into the kiss as they explored each other's taste. To Mito, Naruto had a strong taste that was unlike anything she had ever tried before. Naruto was not the first boy she ever kissed, nor was he the best kisser, but his taste alone drove her wild. Midas' hands snaked down, feeling his hard chest and abs, while Naruto's hands found their home on her waist. Before moving to her large bubble butt, Mito felt her core heating up at his touches and kisses, all strong all the way, at least in her mind, the way a man should touch a woman that he intended to court, date, or whatever term you wanted to use. She wanted this almost as much as Naruto needed this to help clear his head of that witch Akeno, who poisoned his innocent mind. It was no wonder Kushina always wanted Mito to run interference or be around them whenever Akeno was around. Well, she'll be around a lot less now, and Naruto can spend more time with someone who deserves him, like me, thought Mito. Mito-chan. Naru-chan, get your freaking pants on and get your butts down here, yelled Kushina from downstairs. Mito and Naruto pull back from each other as if an electric shock had just hit them. Both blushed as they turned away from each other. Naruto went to his closet and grabbed some black cargo shorts, and an orange shirt, and put them on while Mito fixed herself. Neither said a word to each. They walked downstairs where Kushina was waiting at the stoves with an apron on. She turned to the duo and began to direct them to their cooking stations. Location: Kuo Town, Kuo Academy Place, Class 3B. Time: 1640. Akeno looked out the window, her mind a million miles away. She still couldn't believe it. Her boyfriend of 7 months. A man that she had known for nearly a year. The man who had captured her heart when she should have been corrupting his. The man she chose to give her first time to. The man who carried the cursed blood of the fallen angels in his veins. Akeno had always intended for her first major relationship to be an affair, most likely with Rios' first boyfriend. Before they progressed to a trifecta relationship, Akeno and Rios had experimented before, and Rios was surprisingly good at pleasing women. That fantasy lasted all of 2 years before Akeno met. Well, he was irrelevant at the moment. Many people wouldn't know it, but Rios and Akeno shared the same taste in men, but for different reasons. Rios liked her men chivalrous because she wanted romance. She liked them to have power due to her nature as a devil, and what girl didn't want a handsome man? Akeno liked them chivalrous because she wanted to corrupt them. She wanted them to have power enough to make her the slave to the master and leave her body wrecked in pleasure from BDSM used on her. Because of everything Rios was dealing with, Akeno amended her plans slightly. If Rios didn't have a boyfriend for Akeno to get him to cheat on her, then Akeno would find a boyfriend that would cheat on her with Rios. Before it evolved into a hot nasty threesome, many people wouldn't understand Akeno's desire to be cheated on, cheated with. It's just who she was. She wasn't a cuck or anything like that. There was just something wrong in her head. Something she had known for a long time. Maybe it was because of her repressed issues, but that was another matter, too. So it was that idea of finding a boyfriend that spurred her on. She was a bit picky about it. For starters, she made sure that anyone she went on dates with didn't have any connections to Kuo Academy. So, she went out with college students and boys from other campuses. When she felt like she had a good grasp of a man's heart, she erased their memory. Over the course of 2 years, from the age of 14 to 16, she had over 20 boyfriends. The furthest any of them ever got was some heavy making out with Akeno's top off. That was quickly stomped out after she discovered that he bragged to his friends. Well, at least he had a pretty memorable funeral. The problem was that none of them were ever good enough for Akeno, let alone Rios. Sure, a few would be fine for a moment's distraction, but nothing long-term. A few months after she turned 16, she decided to take a break from the finding a boyfriend thing. One day she was hungry and just so happened to find the ebbing tides. She went in and found the air of the place warm and inviting. That was when she saw him. Uzumaki Naruto was additive, to say the least. His very presence just drew her in. Before she knew it, she was talking to him. Before long she found herself at the shop every day. Within a month Naruto asked her on a date. Following 7 dates they agreed to become an official couple. That was 7 months ago, and within 2 months of them dating they had moved on to having sex. Hamejima-san, came a voice somewhere from the coast. Akeno was brought back to reality as she looked at the person who called her. It was her fellow queen and vice president of the student council, Shinra Tsubaki. "Can I help your Shinra-san?" asked Akeno. Tsubaki kept her serious expression, almost as if she was trying to mimic Sona. "Class is over. You've been distant all day, Hamejima-san," said Tsubaki, looking down at Akeno. "Have I? Sorry, I have a lot on my mind," said Akeno, looking out the window again. "Does it have something to do with a certain boyfriend?" asked Tsubaki. Akeno laughed. "But if you knew her, you'd know the pain in her voice. Ex-boyfriend, if he knows what's good for him." "Then you wouldn't mind if I asked him out on a date," said Tsubaki, flicking her long hair. "What?" asked Akeno, shocked by what she said. "You heard me. I've already spoken to Shitori-san and she's given me her blessing to try my luck at courting Uzumaki-san. She thinks it would be good for me to have a love life outside of my duties. I must admit that I am a bit curious about how Uzumaki-san is as a lover," said Tsubaki. "He's a crow," said Akeno, her rage slowly building. Tsubaki shrugged. Nothing wrong with that. Last I checked there are a few fallen angel devil couples running around the Sea-Tree territories and even the Gremory territories. Maybe he and I could be another, said Tsubaki. Akeno rose to her feet, lightning flashing in her eyes. Don't test me, Tsubaki. Tsubaki gave a small, almost unnoticeable smirk. How am I testing you, Himejima-san? It's clear that you've given up on him, said Tsubaki. Tsubaki, warned Akeno, gritting her teeth in anger. Such a shame that his girlfriend couldn't give him a chance to explain himself before attacking along with her brain-dead king and her merry band of misfits, said Tsubaki. Smack. Tsubaki staggered back slightly as her glasses hit the ground. Her hand went up to the stinging sensation in her right cheek. She knew that her face was red as Akeno had added in some of her supernatural straight to that slap. She was just thankful that she didn't add any magic to it. Sure, Tsubaki knew that she had pushed Akeno, but she didn't think that she would do something like attack the retainer of another house. Tsubaki glared at Akeno. That was quite uncalled for, Himejima-san, said Tsubaki as she picked up her glasses. Akeno seemed to realize where she was and quickly felt the cool chill knowing that she had fucked up royally. Quickly gathering her things, she ran out of the room. People began to talk about what transpired, unaware that one of the boys in class was smirking and thinking that this was a prime opportunity. Now all he had to do was call his boys to deal with Uzumaki. Location: Kuo Town Place, Uzumaki Residence, Edding Tides Restaurant. Time: 2330. Naruto and Mito were in the kitchen cleaning dishes. The last of the customers had left not that long ago, so the group needed to clean up and prepare for tomorrow. Kushina had left Naruto and Mito in charge of cleaning the kitchen, while she took care of the customer dining room. Naruto turned to look at Mito and blushed. While he tried not to think about it, he had had Mito pinned under him, and for a few brief minutes, the duo had traded spit. Naruto-kun, about earlier, started Mito. It's alright, Mito-ne. You were doing it for me. I know I am not the type of person you look for in a man, and I am sorry I pawed you like an animal. I know you probably don't want anything to do with me, so if you don't want to talk to me again, that's fine. Mito looked at Naruto, before giving him a light chop on the head. Don't take it so seriously, Naruto-kun. I am not the type of girl who would kiss someone she didn't have any feelings for, to be honest with you, started Mito as she blushed. I've kinda been crushing on you since Kushina-sensei took me as an apprentice. Naruto blushed. Mito-ne, started Naruto before he was chopped again on the head. Ouch. Damn it, woman, stop hitting me. Don't think you're getting into the kitchen that easy. You have to buy me dinner, lunch, and breakfast before you even think you're going to put any of your nuts in my bowl, said Mito strictly. The blonde-haired young man opened his mouth to respond to Mito. Naruto-chan, Mito-chan, can you come to the family dining room, came Kushina's voice. Coming, sensei, Ka-chan, said the duo as they finished putting away the dishes. The duo walked into the Uzumaki family's private dining room. Sitting around the table was 4 people, 3 of which Naruto knew very well. The very first person Naruto laid his eyes on aside from his mother was his cousin. The woman stood at 53 and was a fair-skinned woman with E-cup breasts. Fairly athletic honey brown eyes and straight blonde hair that parts above her forehead with shoulder-length bangs that framed her face, and the rest reached her lower back and tied into 2 loose ponytails. Wearing a white long-sleeve blouse has only 3 buttons done up to the middle of her chest, revealing her sizable cleavage. Red pencil skirt, she wears open-toed, strapped black sandals with high heels. She has red nail polish on both her fingernails and toenails and uses soft pink lipstick. Around her neck was a green crystal necklace that belonged to her grandfather. This was Senju Tsunade, president and CEO of Senju Hotels, Entertainment, and Medical. Tsunade had always been close to Naruto. When Naruto was younger, when it was just Naruto and Tsunade in the mall and out by themselves or with Shizune, they had assumed that Naruto was Suin's son and Shizune was her daughter. As Naruto grew, people assumed that Naruto was Tsunade's brother. On Tsunade's left, a fair-skinned woman of average height and slender build with large C-cup breasts, onyx eyes, and jet black hair. Her hair is straight and shoulder-length with bangs that cover her ears and frame her face. A purple business suit and a white shirt, she leaves the top portion jacket unbuttoned, with her slacks being somewhat skin-tight, and black-heeled shoes. Koto Shizune was something along the lines of the big sister that Naruto had never had. If he and Tsunade were close, then when they were young, Shizune and Naruto were nearly inseparable. Shizune was Tsunade's adopted child. The orphaned niece of her first husband Koto Dan was also the first woman that he had kissed. Sitting on the right side of the table, a tall, fair-skinned man frequently compared to Naruto in physical appearance. Both have blue eyes and spiky, blonde hair. Minato also had jaw-length bangs framing either side of his face. Minato was considered to be very handsome. He wore a navy blue suit with his jacket off and his tie loosened. This was different from his normal well-put-together image. This was Namikaze Uzumaki Minato, Kushina's husband, Naruto's father, and the North America regional director for Senju Hotels. Despite not being around often, he still made an attempt to be with Naruto and Kushina at least 2 weeks out of every season. He also was the original inspiration for Naruto learning how to fight. The final man sat across from Minato was relatively handsome and stood tall at 62 and looked to be in his early 30s. He had the build of a man who worked out regularly, but not to an excessive amount. Black hair, golden bangs, and a black goatee, wearing a V-necked maroon long coat with a wide, open high collar that opens up at the hem. The long coat also featured 2 black belts around the waist and 4 black bands on each arm, 2 of the bands at the wrist and the other 2 near the elbow. He wore gray slacks and brown shoes. He seemed to be perfectly relaxed sitting among the people here, as if he had known them their entire lives. Minato rose from his spot at the table and walked towards Naruto. He had a big smile on his face before he pulled his fist back and threw it at Naruto's face. Naruto managed to duck to the side before he threw out his own kick that Minato caught. Minato smiled. "Glad to see that you're keeping up with your training, Naruto," said Minato. "I am glad to see that you haven't gotten any slower in your old age," said Naruto. Minato frowned. "I am only 41, said Minato, crossing his arms and pouting like a baby. Kushina laughed. "I don't know, dear, you're straying to grow a few grays," said Kushina, playing with Naruto's hair. The others laughed at the trio. While Naruto favored Minato more in the looks department, it was clear that his personality came from Kushina. "Are you going to ignore you favorite Nei-chan?" asked Shizune. Naruto smirked, before walking over to Shizune and picking her up bridal style, making her yelp, before spinning around. "Naruto-kun. Put me down," yelped Shizune with a laugh as she threw her arms around Naruto. It had been months since the duo had seen each other. Naruto held her for a few minutes before putting her down. Tsunade finally walked over and pulled Naruto into a hug before kissing him on the forehead. "Good to see you, brat, it's been too long," said Tsunade. "I couldn't agree more, Tsunade Bachan. 6 months away from my favorite cousin sucks. Did Uncle I and B-sensei didn't come with you?" asked Naruto, looking around for his uncles. 3. Tsunade shook her head. "No, he's busy preparing his Lightning Court faction for AJWF Big PPW Battle Zone. He plans to defend the AJWF title in a triple threat match. Oh, he also said Lightning Court still has an open sport for you whenever you're ready to take up the limelight in the ring," said Tsunade, shaking her head at the thought of her husband's love for the sport. "Wrestlers. Bunch of fake fighters," said Minato with a frown on his face. "Please, Minato. You're just mad I-kun hit you with his lariat and nearly knocked your head off," said Tsunade. Naruto smiled at his father's attitude towards wrestling. While Naruto was a pretty well-rounded fighter and the regional under-18 kickboxing champion and the 4th-ranked under-18 national kickboxer in Japan, most of his base came from his training with both I and his father. While his father had started him young on the fundamentals of boxing when he spent 2 years in the United States, when he came back to Japan, I took Naruto under his wing and began to train him, not just in the art of wrestling but in the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and basic karate. A common fuck you to his opponents before a match was that Naruto would wear a sleeveless hoodie to the ring. It said these hands are rated E for everyone, and it tended to piss off his opponents. "Sorry to hear about you and that girlfriend of yours. Always seemed like a little slut to me. You should just marry Shizune. Save everyone months of 2 people feeling each other. I mean, you 2 practiced kissing often enough," said Tsunade in a joking manner. Shizune looked at Tsunade as if she betrayed her. "Tsunade-ka-sama, you said that you would never tell a soul about that." Tsunade grinned. "There's nothing wrong with 2 cousins making out with their shirts off," said the haired woman, intentionally steering the pot. Kushina gained an aura of rage about her as she looked Shizune. "You tried to seduce my son when he was 13 and you were 20, yelled Kushina. Minato and the mystery man both gave Naruto a thumbs up from behind Kushina's back. It was always a co-op with a younger male scoring with an older chick, of course. That was a double standard of society, as Minato, Uncle B was very protective of their other cousins who attended one of Tsunade's schools. Chibi Shizune ran and hid behind Tsunade. "I'm sorry, Kushina Oba-san, Booty just broke up with my boyfriend and Naruto Kunosuke could formament and practice making out. I wasn't thinking Sedaizan before I knew it was Grenadinganasanda was doing things with his mouth that no one else I've ever been with could do," said Shizune in one breath. 4. Tsunade waved one hand. "Calm your tits, Kushina. Remember, Naruto is heir to the Senju and Uzumaki families. With the way our bloodline is, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up with a harem of girls," said Tsunade, hoping that Kushina wouldn't maim Shizune too badly. That pulled Kushina out of her aura of darkness before she ran over to Naruto, pulling him into her breasts and began to shake him with tears in her eyes. I don't want my Naruto-chan to be a player and have a harem of busty babes. I want him to be a respectable man with a tough yet traditional wife and give me 10 grandbabies. That's why I've been training Mito-chan to be the perfect girlfriend and future wife. Mita's face turned atomic red. Future wife, 10 babies, that means lots of sex. Naruto-san is big, had stuffed my guts full of his seed. I'd give birth to his babies easily, thought Mito as she thought of Naruto coming home from a long day at work before picking her up and throwing her on the couch, before fainting and Shizune catching her. Naruto looked at the last man who was sitting at the table. He felt familiar yet not. Who's the jabroni sitting there like he's the head of the table, said Naruto, pointing to the blonde-haired dude who wasn't his dad. It became so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Shizune and Mita's mouths fell open. Minato slapped his forehead with an amused smile on his face, while Tsunade and Kushina were barely holding back their laughs. The man chuckled before it became a full-on belly laugh. Damn Kushina, I knew you kid had balls. Definitely didn't take after girly boy here, said the man pointing at Minato. Minato narrowed his eyes. Screw you, you old bastard, said Minato. Sorry, you're not my type, Mino boy, said the man. You going to answer my question, or do I have to hit you with a stunner? Asked Naruto, crossing his arms. The man chuckled. Alright, kid, keep your pants on. I am Azazel. The short of it is this. I am the Governor General of the Gogori, or leader of the Fallen Angel faction. The long answer is this. I am the great-great-grandfather to Kushina, the great-grandfather to Tsunade, and the great-great-great-grandfather to you. You can call me old man, Azazel, or granddad. My cute little Kushina-chan asked me here to explain things to you and how the combined Senju Uzumaki family factors into all of this crazy supernatural mess, said the man with a smirk on his face. Akeno stood before a pacing Rias. Kiba and Kaneko were on either side of her in case she did something foolish. While Rias trusted Akeno with her life, kings in the past had made the mistake of not having a proper guard when dealing with someone they trusted. While it may not seem as if Akeno and Rias would ever come to serious blows, Akeno had an advantage over her king in a fight, a deadly advantage that Rias made sure to remember. The reason Rias was pacing was because she had received an official complaint from Sona about the actions of Akeno, attacking Tsubaki in front of other students. It would require the school to get involved, provoked or not. It was uncalled for. Akeno, what were you thinking? Slapping Tsubaki like that? Not only is she the student council vice president, but Sona's right hand. Do you understand what you have done? Said Rias rather harshly to her, queen. Akeno lowered her head, not daring to meet the eyes of the woman she saw as a sister. She knew that she had made a mistake, one that had serious repercussions, not just for her, but for Rias as well. The queen of the Gremory peerage fell to her knees and pressed her forehead to the floor. I understand and will accept whatever punishment you give me, heiress Gremory. I am at fault for my own actions and the consequences lay squarely on my shoulders, said Akeno. Kaneko and Kiba looked at each other. They knew that Akeno was serious whenever she called Rias heiress. It was one of the few things they all agreed upon, never to call Rias heiress to her face unless they messed up bad. Admitting fault isn't enough, Akeno. I know that this thing with Naruto pushed you, but you allowed your anger to not only embarrass me but put me in a very unfavorable light with Sona. The political situation in Kuo between the Gremory peerage and Seitree peerage wasn't black and white. While it would seem that Kuo was split 50-50 between the Gremory and Seitree families, it was more along the lines of the Seitree running the administration of the supernatural and the Gremory running the security. Of the nearly million people in Kuo, 20,000 were of the supernatural and another 50,000 humans knew about it. Part of their job was to protect the supernatural from humans who looked to take advantage of them and vice versa. It was part of their deal to govern Kuo town. The duo only controlled Kuo through the graces of the Kyoto Yukai faction. A deal was made between Yusaka and Seraphal Leviathan for Sona. Rias' brother caught wind of this and asked if Rias could join in, not just due to the fact that Rias needed to get some management skills under her belt, but because she loved Japan. Seeing as the Gremory and Seitree families were allies, Lord Seitree allowed Rias to join Sona as the county ruler of Kuo in name only. 1. Despite them being allies, devils were always looking for even a modicum of power. Rias' job as king was to make sure her chosen peerage members were kept in line and followed all rules that went with being a devil. They were also there to fill every desire their king had. If Rias honestly wanted to, she could turn her entire peerage into sex slaves, which wasn't that uncommon of a practice. A queen's job was to be the disciplinarian of their king. For Akeno to do what had given Sona ammo to leverage anything within. Luckily Sona and Rias had an understanding and this wouldn't have to go higher than between the two of them. They both knew what Sona would want. She would want the right to claim first dibs on anyone who took their fancy when it came to their peerages. Serafal didn't pick Kuo because of its location. She picked it because it had one of the highest magical rates outside of Kyoto and Tokyo. Supernatural energy could be found the world over, and while humans worried about country borders and the like, magical borders were the concerns of the supernatural races. One of the things that Rias managed to negotiate out from under Sona's total control was the first pick of anybody who caught their shared interest. If Rias was going to run security, she needed the best fighters she could find. Sona had a bigger peerage because none of Sona's current members had ever agreements, something that Rias tried to keep as her sole advantage. Rias' peerage was geared more towards combat than Sona's defensive team. Strip, ordered Rias as she held out her left hand and summoned a whip of energy. Akeno did as told while Kiba and Kaneko moved back a bit, as two magic circles appeared above her head before Akeno's hands flew up and were bound in place. Kiba moved to place a guard in Akeno's mouth, only for Rias to stop him. He understood. You will face your punishment, and you will not be allowed to suffer your pain in silence. You will not be allowed to hide your shame. You will beg for mercy, said Rias, too. They all knew that Akeno would not beg for Rias to stop or beg for mercy. She accepted her punishment with all the grace she could muster. As Rias pulled her arm back and unleashed the first painful lash of 100, Akeno tensed as the whip smacked against her skin. She let out a cry of pain that hurt Rias' heart. But this must be done. Even if Akeno had brought this on herself, Rias could not afford to show weakness, even to her family. Location: Kuo Town Place, Uzumaki Residence, Edding Tides Restaurant. Time: 0000. Grandfather? Asked Naruto, blinking. Azazel nodded. That's right. I am your grandfather, kid. Ain't no way I am related to your ugly ass. You one dress code violation from an uptown gigolo on a Tuesday night, said Naruto. Great times 3 actually, said Minato. His first wife Senju Mika was my great-grandmother, while your own great X3 grandmother was Uzumaki Hitomi. Before even that, our families share a common ancestor known as the Sage of Six Paths, a legend who was said to be able to kill demons with just his mystical truth-seeking orbs, said Tsunade. Let us not get off topic. That's a discussion for another day, said Azazel. What about Dad? Uncle I and Uncle B, Shizune? Asked Naruto. Well, to answer your question, Mino boy, I and Rapper B are exiled heroes who have been wanting to get turned into artificial fallen angels because of their love for the family. I am still working out the kinks for the reincarnation system that matches the peerage and brave saint system the devils and angels use. I am thinking of something cool to name at the moment, perhaps the guild or armor system, said Azazel. Mito cleared her throat. Azazel-sama, you're getting off track, said Mito. Azazel looked sheepish. Right. Sorry about that. Anyway, I am not one for long stories, so I'll keep this brief. But sit back and relax. A really long time ago, before Christianity took hold of the world, angels were the chosen servants of God, not one of the Parathion gods but the one true God, Jehovah, not to be confused with Allah. I've seen many people make that mistake before. Anyway, we were happy for a while, at least until Adam and Eve broke his order not to eat the fruit from the Garden of Eden. They were exiled from the garden and began a family, but Lucifer wasn't happy for them to just be exiled. He wanted them eliminated. Jehovah saw no need to kill them as they lost their immortality. So over the years, as humanity grew and began to worship Jehovah, Jehovah gave one of his sons to forgive the sins of humans, Jesus, to the humans in the form of the Virgin Mary. There are some very huge flaws with that particular legend, but I am not going into it. Anyway, Lucifer led the first and second legions in the heavenly rebellions. Before the rebellion happened, he used the power of sin to permanently dye his wings black. We all followed suit. We still had our power, obviously. We fought and we lost. God banished us from heaven to the underworld. Several of us were done at that point. We had lost. We decided that it was best to focus on repopulation since we were not going to get back to heaven anytime soon. Back then we could repopulate quickly. After 300 years we went from the 12,000 defectors to millions, said Azazel. I don't understand, what does that has to do with the devils in the Great War, said Kushina, having never heard this before. The Great War was well known, but this information was something that she didn't expect. Well, I was getting to that. Around that time, I was more brutal, more warrior than the researcher I am today. At that time, I was also a commander in the army of the fallen angel. What I didn't know at the time was that Lucifer was in talks with demons of the underworld, Leviathan, Asmodeus, and Beelzebub. Back then they were just powerful demons and didn't have the ability to move past that fact. Lucifer changed that. Through the power of the 4 of them, Lucifer shed his connection to God and became the first devil, with the other 3 following suit. In time others joined them, with Lucifer as the leader, and the 72 pillars were born. Lucifer came to the commanders and told them what he had done. Many of us were shocked and refused to shed our connection to our father, no matter how we felt about his favoritism of humans. A few joined Lucifer, but we were ill-prepared for his assault on heaven some 200 years later, and using us as scapegoats, we figured out what happened, and thus the Great War began. The rest is pretty much history, finished Azazel. The others were quiet and didn't know what to say. Information like this must have been well guarded by all three of the biblical factions' higher-ups. It makes you wonder what else they are hiding, said Gree to Naruto. Hey Azazel, how about a sparring match? Asked Naruto. Everyone looked at Naruto as if he had grown a second head, although to Tsunade and Kushina it wasn't a surprise, since the shared Senju, Uzumaki family were something akin to battle fanatics. No matter the battle, be it against a person, a thing, or even something as trivial as an eating contest, they loved a good fight. Azazel smiled. Sure, it will give me a chance to examine your sacred gear, said the leader of the Gogori. Location: Kuo Town Place, Shielded Field. Time: 0100. Azazel and Naruto stood across from each other, with Naruto starching his legs and Azazel had his arms crossed. Kushina, Minato, Tsunade, Shizune, and Mito stood a ways away from the duo. Mito was nervous. Is this a good idea for Naruto-kun to fight Azazel-sama? Asked Mito. It will be fine. Old man Azazel won't go too hard on the brat, said Tsunade. But still Naruto-kun is biting off more than he realizes, said Shizune, biting her lip. Let him learn the hard way. As good in a fight as we are, Uzumaki are hard-headed. Half the time we only understand something is for it to be beaten into our heads, said Kushina. You going to starch before we dance, old man? Asked Naruto as he stood up and bounced on his feet. No need, in fact, I'll make this fair, said Azazel as he held out his hand and summoned a pair of leg and wrist cuffs. What are those? I said dance, I didn't say cuff, said Naruto. Azazel chuckled before he put the cuffs on. These cuffs are a bit different. Alongside adding about 2 tons per wrist, it also restrains my power output by 90%. I normally use them when I want to train. Oh, before we start, Kushina, I need to speak with you and Minato after I give your son a spanking, said Azazel. Naruto chuckled as he creaked his kunkles. Cocky for an old bastard, ain't ya? Better than some cocky brat whose balls haven't dropped yet, said Azazel with a smirk. You ready to go, partner? Asked Naruto. An ethical form of Gree appeared over Naruto's shoulder. I am. But you're going to have a problem. The speed that you're going to give you tunnel vision, and problems with vertigo. Any idea how to mitigate that? Asked Naruto. Yes. Activate our power, Naruto-kun, said Gree. Naruto focused on his legs as the boots appeared on his legs and feet. He also had the urge to hold out his right hand as it glowed in a pair of pink-purple crystal-like shades. Naruto put them on his face and they fit great. Naruto noticed up in the upper right eye were 10 unlit counters, just below a green line with the letters Santa. Naruto raised an eye at this. Stamina? Thought Naruto. Gree? Asked Naruto. Those counters are the number of times you can rev up. Your sacred gear doubles your speed and stamina per rev every 10 seconds. You can stack your reves, hence the counter. You can use crank to increase the power of your attacks, but you'll lose a counter and part of your base stamina. If you use up all of your base stamina, you will stall out and need to recover. You'll barely be able to move until you get another rev to help stabilize your condition, said Gree. Anything else? Asked Naruto. Duck, said Gree. Naruto did as Gree said. Managing to duck as a spear passed over his head, Naruto took off running a speed that would have been hard for anyone below a 4-winged fallen angel to keep up with. Naruto noticed that his stamina bar lowered just a sliver. Naruto flipped and charged at Azazel and threw a spinning high kick. Azazel blocked the attack with his arm before he thrust his palm into Naruto's chest. Naruto was sent flying backward and landed on his back before he rolled to his feet and slammed his hand into the ground. Rev. Naruto felt an increase in stamina and speed. He rushed forward and jumped to throw a spin kick at Azazel's head. The leader of the Gogori leaning backwards like he was in the Matrix, but was shocked as Naruto's legs stopped before he revered direction and flipped, creating an axe kick-like motion. Was the attack faster than before? Rev. Crank. Full moon axe, called Naruto. Azazel crossed his arms and felt the power of the kick. His arms didn't even go numb from the pain, but it did confirm what he thought about Naruto's power. He was using an enhancer-type gear, however. It was a speed type, considering that his young charge had something similar. Azazel pulled his fist back and threw it forward and hit Naruto in the jaw. Naruto's vision swam as he was about to go flying, but Azazel grabbed him by his leg and pulled Naruto backward, before releasing him and dropping him on the ground. Mito and Shizune winced in pain for their friend, and even Kushina was starting to get worried. Naruto, you're at 50% stamina after that attack you just got hit with. You need to recover, said Gree. Naruto looked at the stamina bar and knew that she was speaking the truth. He went to rise up, but a foot slammed onto his chest and pinned him in place. You got a lot to learn, kid. You're not some protagonist in a comic or some guy's ideal fiction hero. Had this been a real fight, you would have been dead in 20 seconds, 1 second to kill you and 19 seconds to destroy your body. While there are a lot of battle maniacs in the supernatural world, there are just as many threats that won't be so kind and finish you the second you give them an opening. Your mom and dad spoiled you by trying to make sure you were more human than fallen, said Azazel, all traces of the kind man gone. Naruto grits his teeth in anger. I've won plenty of fights, yelled Naruto. In tournament settings and street fights, glorified sparring matches and unsanctioned brawls. While you're a lot stronger than someone your age should be, you are still no stronger than an average two-winged angel. No, you're weaker. You don't know how to use your corrupted holy energy, your magic, your unique fallen angel power, or even your gear. Your spirit was whispering how to use the gear in your ear. You have the ability to use it, doesn't mean you know how to use it, said Azazel. 3-4. He's right, son, said Minato as he appeared next to Naruto. I was born with the sacred gear that allows me to travel to any location I have marked, but even without it my base speed is so much higher than other people. They're not wrong. It has been a while since I had a wielder. I'd hate for you to die before you realize your full power. You need to train. As if they were on the same wavelength, Azazel looked to Kushina. I need your son for about 2 weeks to get the basics down, said Azazel. Minato-kun, how long are you in town for? Asked Kushina with a sultry smile. Minato smiled. About a month, but I am sure that Naruto will be busy for at least 2 weeks, said Minato. I can take Mito for a few weeks. I might be able to teach her something other than how to use that chopper of hers for fighting. Besides, Shizune needs a vacation, said Tsunade. The trip wanted to protest but knew that it would be useless. Shizune did need a much-needed vacation. Mito needed to learn that there was more to life than cooking, and Naruto, well, Naruto needed a lot of work in the supernatural department. Azazel put his hand on Naruto's shoulder, making him tense. Shall we go, my cute little grandson? Asked Azazel as he opened a portal for them to travel through. As they vanished, Naruto knew that the next 2 weeks were going to be hell. Thanks for watching.